When I was younger, we had an electric can opener and a cat. And we used to feed our cat out of cans of cat food, and we would use an electric can opener. It's a strange thing. I don't know why anybody would have an electric can opener, as if like opening a can is so difficult. But we had one, and we would put that cat food on that electric can opener. And sure enough, that cat would hear that sound and it would come running. It would jump. It would be there in the kitchen. And it didn't matter if we were just opening some beans or whether we were opening cat food. It was tuned in to that sound. We used to play this game where we would take the cat and put it in the farthest corner of the house. And then we would turn on the can opener, and that cat would bolt towards the kitchen expecting to be fed. Now, today, I want to introduce you to... Do any of you know what this is? Not the camera, but there's a little tiny button. Apple here has hidden it very well. It's an off button. This one has one too. Right here. My wife's broken phone also has a nice little off button. My laptop has an off button as well. Today, in Pensies, I want to talk about 12 hacks for your devices, phones, tablets, computers, which I use, which other people use, in order to get more space, let's say. More space for thoughts, more space for other people, more space for God, more space for your soul, and more space for the things that really concern you the most. Your work, your purpose in life. It can be a bit more practical this time. Try to get through them rather quickly. If you want a little bit more of the theory, check out the other videos that we've done here. And off we go. Number 1, use this button. Yeah, the off button, the on button. And have times in which you turn your devices on and turn them off. Like TV. I don't know if you still have a TV, but there are times when the TV is on and times when the TV is off. Or radio, times when it's on, times when it's off, or any other kind of music streaming or podcast streaming, talk radio. You turn it on, you turn it off. It's not on all the time. I think a lot of us haven't ever really figured out how to do this. And what I mean is really to set specific times. So in my case, I don't turn on my laptop or any tablet or anything like that until about 1 o'clock in the day. That means from the time that I get up at, let's say, 7 a.m. until 1 o'clock, I don't have any access to any emails that somebody might have sent me or to any notifications. I haven't checked the news. I haven't looked up anything. No texts, nothing like that. It's just quiet. Number 2, don't put any device beside your bed. Let them live somewhere else, whether that's in your living space or in your kitchen. Let that be the place where they sit in your living arrangement. And we don't have a very specific spot for every single thing, but I think the idea of taking a smartphone or a tablet to bed with you is really the same and not all that different from just sleeping at your computer desk. You know, if you need an alarm clock, they're not expensive. It's only special sorts of people who are going to need to be called in the middle of the night, and the likelihood is that you're not one of those people. Number 3. Okay, this is a big one. Shut off all notifications. No notifications. Silence WhatsApp, texts, quiet, They don't show up on the screen. Any sort of program that wants to send you notifications, whether it's in a browser or whether it's on some sort of device in an app, off. No, they're not allowed to talk to you. You talk with them when you want to talk with them. And I would say that with respect to everything but calls. So if somebody wants to dial your number or push your face, however it may be the case, and talk with you directly in person, then okay, they need you. Now, of course, obviously, certain times when you don't even need that, want that, you're in a meeting, you're doing a video podcast. But this is where app companies or website makers or whoever do not have our best interests in mind. All of these groups, software, app developers, even phone companies, want their thing to be front and center. The whole idea, strategy, is to get you to use these things more and more. And it's as if your screwdriver, another tool, would sort of constantly tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you haven't used me yet. Go and screw things in. Number 4, get a commercial email address. Get an email address that you can send all businesses, anything that's going to sort of send you stuff, whether it's junk mail or just business mail, things that have to do with your household, your heating bill, your phone bill. If you order something online, this is a day and age when you need to give emails to almost everybody. So create a specific email in which all of that goes. And the flip side of this, and maybe I should say it this way, is get a personal email address. Have an email address that only people know who are going to sit down and type an email to you with respect to any sort of business dealings, commercial dealings, anybody that's likely to send you newsletters or advertisements or whatever. All of that goes into that email address. And here's the key. You don't need to check that. You don't even need to check it once a day. Number 5, unsubscribe ruthlessly. Any group that gets your email address and they want to send you constant updates, they want to tell you about sales that they're doing, they want to tell you about what's happening in their world, all of that is obviously a part of their marketing campaign. And it's time to flip that around and say, okay, when I need shoes, I will look you up. You don't need to constantly tell me about the shoes that you're going to sell to me. So unsubscribing is so easy. It's as easy as deleting that email. You just open it up. It's usually down at the bottom. You unsubscribe, and then it's done. And then you don't even have to delete it the next week or the next month or whenever it is. Now, I think there is an exception to this. There are what we call newsletters. And I remember a day when newsletters actually contained news and they were actually letters. Somebody sat down and wrote them, and it was for some organization or a particular person who was going to give you a narrative account or some sort of description of what they were doing and what was happening. I write a newsletter for the Sanctus Institute, and I know that there's a lot of time gets put into these actual real newsletters. I've also learned that people don't tend to really read them as we used to read newsletters. The old newsletters used to come in paper form, and you would read them at the kitchen table or perhaps standing up in the kitchen, or you would read them if you had a correspondence desk. What were they called? Sort of secretariats. And people would sit down and read it for 10 minutes or whatever it would take to do that. But all of that other stuff, which isn't actually news, isn't actually a letter, unsubscribe. Kill it. Number 6, no idea how I'm doing for time here. We'll see. No email on small devices. Don't even read your emails on a device in which you have to type with your thumbs or with your finger. Read emails on device that has a keyboard. Now, if your tablet or you have some sort of small little device that actually has a keyboard, great. But when this thing here does not have any of my emails on it. I don't use that mail program. I know it's so simple to set up, and they so want these device makers so want you to use all of these things that they create, so you use these things even more. But take all of your emails and put them on a computer with a keyboard or whatever, anything, keyboard. Place at a desk where you can actually read, and then, more importantly, write emails. Number 7, have set email times. Now, I realize a lot of these are actually about emails. So part of the advantage of having one device, or a computer with a keyboard in which you actually do your e-correspondence, is that you can actually then pick a time in which you actually write and read emails. Now, there may be a particular time of the day, like I've already mentioned, before 1 o'clock, I'm not reading any emails. At about 1 o'clock, I do my first reading, but then I also realize that responding to some of those emails takes a lot more time, and I often have to have a time during the week to really compose good emails to the people that are responding to me. Now, here's the thing. If you have actually taken your emails, your commercial emails, and you have put them into an email folder, and you have been ruthlessly unsubscribing, then the email inbox, which you have to manage for personal things or perhaps for work things, is significantly smaller. Number 8, buy a camera. So here's my Sony mirrorless camera. Sony makes some really great mirrorless cameras. If you don't know, that's the kind of new camera technology. The idea is that you have a small body and then lenses that you can sort of remove and take off. This is not a very expensive one. I understand this is a sort of significant investment, but you don't even have to have this kind of technology. If you just got a devoted camera in order to take pictures, what it would do is it would make your picture taking not only better, because you would actually have, a real viewfinder, you'd have a lens that would actually be able to move, but you would also take pictures with more intentionality. Whether you're going to the park, or you're going to go to a party, or you're going to go see a friend, having a real camera there actually helps you to say, okay, this is really what I want to capture from this moment. And the thing about cameras like this is they are portable. The whole idea is that you can put this in your bag. You can't really put it in your pocket. But then, I'm not the kind of guy who's really going to have everything in their pockets anyway. My dad, sorry Dad, was kind of one of those people that would, he'd wear these like pleated pants, and he would kind of put everything into his pockets and kind of, well, sorry Dad. Number 9, do social media on one device. So this is rather related to number 8, but it's the whole idea of a division of labor. Sort of, most of us have multiple devices, so pick one device in which you are going to use social media on and leave it off of the other devices. So in my case, this thing here does not have any social media on it. It doesn't have any emails on it, but it also, I don't have any Facebook, I don't have any, there's no WhatsApp, there's none of that stuff. No Twitter. It's all, in my case, then on my laptop. So the idea is that you're going to have a division of labor, and you're going to have social media, and we really should say the internet too, only on specific devices, which is going to help you divide it up into certain times of your life. Number 10, delete apps. Now this is kind of obvious, but really decluttering something like this, or even your laptop, your tablet, just be really I guess, ruthless. I've already said that before, about taking the things that you don't use. To fly somewhere, I think last year it was important to have this app of United Airlines. I think, it's in order to watch things while you're flying or whatever. That's gone. I used it and then it's gone. So for example, on this thing doesn't have any email, it doesn't have any social media. We use it to look at the internet when we're more around the house on the sofa. We use it to look at photos that we've taken in our photo library. We don't use it to take photos, we use cameras for that. Our kids use it for games, and we use it for video conferencing of various kinds. Just sometimes it's easier to use this than to use a laptop to connect with people for a video conference. But that's it. That's really what this is for. There are a few apps on this that we use from time to time, things to do with whatever, the guitar or some sort of camera. Number 11, share a device. Share a phone, a tablet, a computer. You don't need all of these things if you live in a family, if you live with other people. And this is, I think, the really interesting thing. You can share a smartphone. The phone companies have convinced us that every single person needs to have their own smartphone. And actually, it's not true. I don't see why couples or roommates or families couldn't just have one smartphone that they use between them, that somebody takes to go traveling on a business trip, or that they take with them on holidays, or that they just sort of use between them when a particular person needs it for a particular app or for a particular purpose. There isn't any reason why you need to have your own. Number 12, toss your phone or downgrade it. You may not actually need it. I don't actually use a smartphone. I have a phone. I have a number. I don't know the number on it. It's out of batteries. It sits in a drawer, and when I need it, especially when I go traveling, I will take it out and turn it on, put the minutes on that I need, and go with that. But you can have a feature phone. If you do need to have a phone on you, you can just sort of have a phone that doesn't have all these other apps, doesn't have the camera on it, doesn't have internet capabilities, doesn't have a big screen. There are these sorts of things out there. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that I actually did it in sufficient time. Thanks for helping out in any way. If you are somebody who is giving to this channel, to the Sanctus Institute, to the Sanctus Forum, or you are helping in behind the camera in any way, thank you so much for doing that. And if you like this, do really like it, subscribe, write comments. I'm sure that I have forgotten some important things, some ideas, or I don't even know about them, ways that other people use to sort of keep these devices in their place in our lives, to take control of them. And in the comments, I'd love to hear what you do or what you would suggest to other people. So keep those comments coming. I really enjoy interacting with you as much as possible. So I will then see you next time.
Happiest day.